Welcome to Gail Scott Key's Entertainment Now. I'm joined by a familiar face, my former co-host, actor Augustine Rodriguez. Hey, Augustine.
Hey, Gail, how are you?
Oh,
Good
I'm
to be
doing
on.
good. It's so good to have you, and what a treat. And if you haven't seen my very talented and dear friend, he's been on Law and Order. Yeah, he played Alan Baker in Crossing Lines, season 24, episode 15. And you can hear all about it as Augustine shares more in my interview with him on my YouTube page. But Augustine and I are very, very excited because we have another extraordinary guest who is more like family to us joining us this half hour. Angelo Ellerbee. He's a renowned public relation expert and founder of Double Exposure Media Relations. I have a wonderful connection with them, and I love them so much. They're a full service PR, marketing, and artist development firm. Well, Ellerbee has had a distinguished career spanning over 5 decades. Did you know that? He's representing iconic figures such as the late, great, iconic Michael Jackson, Mary J. Blige, and Dionne Warwick. Ellerbee is also an accomplished author, having written books like Ask Angelo, The Sense of Success, and his latest, Before I Let You Go. What a cool title! Before I Let You Go, Ellerbee shares his insights on success and personal growth, inspiring countless individuals like me to find their own path to triumph. Welcome back, Angelo. It is such a pleasure to see you. We're so excited to have you this half hour.
It is a pleasure to be back with you and your co-host. I
Oh,
really adore what you do. You look incredible. Whatever you're doing, darling, continue to keep doing it because you look wonderful.
thank you so much. I've got to see you. I've got to get to New York. I've got to get out there and I've got to see you once and for all. We've got to do this. So let's set a lunch date. All right.
We
Let's
will. We will
All
do that.
right. All
We
right.
will do that.
Perfect. Well, I'm so proud of you because you have Before I Let You Go. That title is so cool. What's been the inspiration behind this book? Who inspired you to write it, and how does it reflect on your personal journey and career experiences?
It's really a reflection to what is absent in today's society. I think people are forgotten about. The homeless and the shut out is forgotten about. The HIV and AIDS victim is forgotten about. The incarcerated is forgotten about. Domestic violent people are forgotten about. Before I let you go, I want to give you an inspiration. I want to motivate you. I want to stimulate you. I want to tell you that God gives us all chances. We all have chances. And we have to come and break from the barriers of believing that we don't have another chance. He gives us countless chances. And so I write this book because these are the forgotten souls. This has nothing to do about the Whitney Houstons or the Michael Jacksons or the Dionne Warwick, and the list goes on. It has to do with people like you and me and everyone else that's been challenged through life. I want people to understand the importance of loving yourself. I am romantically in love with Angelo Ellerbee. I love me some me. And because I love me, I can love others. And because I can love others, hopefully the others will love themselves and share that. I think that we are in this incredible device, if you will, of not sharing and not caring about the next man. I have this driver that works for me 6 days out of the week. And I remember going into the city a couple of weeks ago and I had to go into the bank and take care of some business. And I came out and I had a lot of singles and stuff, like to keep the singles in the house for tips. And I saw these three guys sitting on that, I think it was 48th Street and Ninth Avenue. And I asked my guy, his name was Rolando. I said, would you please pull over for a second? He said, oh, Mr. Ellerbee, you're not going to pull over these people. Did you see those people? They're living. Rolando, pull over. And so I asked these guys to come to the car. And I asked them, I said, so why are you sitting out here, man? They all want to talk to me and tell me. I gave each one of them 10 singles. And my driver said to me, he says, they're just going to buy drugs and drink. That's not my business.
Mm,
My business is to do the business and the work of God. That could be me.
Yeah.
It could be my father. could have been my brothers and sisters. I think that we are in such a downfall in today's world, in today's society, that we're so selfish that we only care about ourselves.
Mhm.
And that's just not the making of what God has created. He asks us to take care of one another, to love one another, to encourage one another. Each and every single morning of my life, Gail, I get up very early in the morning, but my exercise is to get on the bike and pray for 45 minutes. And
Yes.
I pray for senior citizens that they will not continuously put a streak or a stop point on life, an expiring time in their lives. I ask God to take their wheelchairs, to take their crutches, the rocking chairs, and motivate them and inspire them to get up and live life through His work and His words. Go and do something with life. There's no expiration. At least we don't know that there's an expiration. So go live life. Life is so important. And then I go on and on in my prayers because I think that every particular community, from the sick to the physically handicapped, to the homeless and the shut out, to the AIDS patient, to the cancer patient. Oh, I go on, and people say to me, do you really pray for it? I really do pray
Mhm.
because I really believe that I am so blessed, so favored, that I have not had to go through the challenges that I see people go through. And I think it's a time in your life that you just want to do right, be right, and get right. And the give back is really important. And so this book that we're now at 4,500 copies now sold,
That's awesome.
all of the benefits from this book, the profits from this book, goes to an organization by the name of RAIN.
Mhm.
RAIN is an organization that motivates and educates 14 to 18-year-old victims of HIV and AIDS and the LGBTQ plus community. We can do housing. We take them off of the streets because a lot of times parents have put a spiel on what they think their children's life should be. And when they find that they have an alternative lifestyle, they throw them out. Well, at 14 years old, you don't have your survival skills in order. So what do? You go out and you start to sell yourself.
Mhm.
Well, what we're doing in the state of New Jersey, and I'm so fortunate to be a part of this organization, is that I'm taking I think it's our first 900, and we're housing them for 9 months. We're
Wow.
feeding them 3 meals a day. We're finding jobs for them and encouraging them.
Oh, wow.
That's what it's about. That's what it's really about for me. That's what this book is about. I
Wow.
only use all of these celebrities and the celebrity alignments to get people to buy the book.
Ah,
But I do utilize each particular person that I speak about in this book, and I tell their stories as to what I did for them and where they were at
mhm.
when they began as
Yes.
examples. And
Yes.
you see how they have come through
Yep.
and they have landed on solid ground.
I was just going to say, Angelo, especially the late Michael Jackson before he passed. I understood that you were in a room, and when it came to in the 90s, especially about his reputation, he had everybody leave the room but kept you there.
Yeah.
That says a lot because of how high profile he is and everything that he was going through. There obviously was nuggets of wisdom that he could trust in you, as well as your dear friend Dionne Warwick. You know,
Yeah,
that,
I think what it is relationships.
yes.
And I also believe that the truth is not on strike.
Mhm. Wow.
And I think when the truth is not on strike, then you got a real friend.
Wow.
And I strangely define friend. I tell people if you split the word friend in the middle, you get END, you get an end of a friend.
Hmm.
But these two individuals, particularly Miss Warwick, has truly been a friend.
Yeah.
We have been to the mountaintops together 10 times. We
Yes.
have shared, we have cared, we have motivated, we have provided for each other the kind of love that you can't get in the candy store.
Yeah.
It's just a real kind of thing because we're real, two real people who share and care. It's nothing that we don't talk about. I talk about my life. She tells me about her life. And we help each other through whatever we're going through. And I try to do that with so many people. I think more than a publicist, I think I'm a therapist. I think that my PR days may be over and the therapy days may have begun.
Mhm.
I just think taking time out, as my mother took time out to me from age 5 to 15 years old, she used to knock on my door every morning and say, "My last born, did I tell you that I loved you?" And I said, "Mama, it's 5:30 in the morning. No, you didn't tell me, but I know that you do." But that my mom's energy was my motivation. My mom's energy and input to my life allowed me to be who I am.
Yes.
She accepted me 200%. She loved me unconditionally. My sisters and my brothers did the same thing. So I never had negativity. And so I won't have it in my life. I don't necessarily believe in friendships. You have to earn them. You have
Right.
to earn your way to here.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know, when you earn your way here, I believe that first is a courtship, then there's an engagement,
Mhm.
and there's a friend in marriage
Yes.
that lasts forever. You have to earn your way into.
You've influenced me for so many years that we've known each other, and the honor is mine. I have been inspired by you. I am always impressed by you. And you're right. I believe that, especially with double media exposure, you've also been a therapist to all of us. You just wrap your arms around us and you just love us where we're at. You meet us where we're at. And that is the most dignified way, as you say, to really help someone because all it takes is a word. You never know where someone has been.
Very
And
true.
just like with Augustine, it's an honor to know both of you and have you both in my life. And you've covered the first part of my questions of the philanthropic. And I wanted to really elaborate, and I think that I believe that you have about the Ellerbee Foundation, which is really important. You've been setting that example. And how can others get involved in that to support you on that?
Oh, I just ask for people to, one, purchase the book because that's where the profit goes. The book is distributed through Amazon.
Yes.
They can go to my website. That's the doubleexposurenyc.com. I'm doing so many things. God has blessed me. They gave me a street renaming this year. I
Yeah.
was in the White House this year where they honored me. The President Biden honored me. Um, it's been so many awards and so many accolades. And I said, well, I had to wait till I guess I was 99 and get them. But I'm very, very thankful. At 99, I'm still getting them. It was so funny. Me and Miss Work, we laughed so much. I said to her before she went on tour, I said, "Oh, somebody called and they wanted to award you for something, whatever it was." She said, "You can go get that one. Who's awarding you this week?" We just go back and forth because it's been a good year. It's been excellent years for her in the last two or
Oh.
3 years that she's received from the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame to the Kennedy Center Honor, and it goes on and on and on. And I have been the recipient of equally the same. So I'm very thankful.
Angelo, I'm so honored to be here with you. And thank you so much for being so generous. I had have a really loving mom who really has supported me too. So I can relate, to that point. Let me ask you, what was the genesis of creativity for you? When was the point that you thought, this is what I've got to do? This is how I've got to do it. You seem to be so multifaceted, but what was the genesis of creativity for you?
Creativity comes in all kinds of styles. It comes from a thought. You don't have to be an illustrator or a designer or any of that. Creativity is a mind kind of thing, what you think about it. But my mother has always been the center of my life because my mother had an eighth grade education and she was a waitress. But I thought she was a doc. I thought she had a doctor's degree. She was smart as a whip and she could tell you things that you would not possibly imagine. And she gave you the kind of conversations that a doctor with a PhD had. She would sit and she would talk to me. Everything that I am doing is because of my mother. She taught me manners and diction and speech. And you say, well, how could a lady that was not so astute in education? She studied. And I saw her take 6 children and turn them into kings and queens. I saw her take an apartment that she rented and allowed us to buy her a house that she lived in. I saw her just turn, she was magical to me. And so my inspiration was to make life better for her, to make
Mm.
life, excuse me, life better for my brothers and my sisters. We deserved it. She deserved it. So I worked at a very young age to see a smile on her face, to see my brothers. It was so funny that I was able, I think it was maybe in September, they gave me the street honor, where they named the street after me where I was born and raised. And I stood there with thousands of people out there. I was blown away. And I just stood there and looked at the street, this avenue, where I was sometimes bullied on, sometimes beat up on, sometimes talked about. And I stood at the street and I looked around and I said, this is where my mother would come up that hill every single night. These are all the things that I went through as a child to about 15 or 16 years old. Then I had to say to myself, look, they're naming the mayor and the senator and the governor all came out. So it was amazing to me that what you put in is what you get out.
Mm.
You can't go to the bank with nothing and try to take something out. So you have to continuously, in the beginning of your life, sometimes you don't know what the ingredients of life is going to be, but you got to put in. You got to constantly put in. Faith unlocks every door. If you're having a rough time in your career, that's because you're not dealing with faith and you're not believing in the man upstairs. Faith and spirit unlocks every door. Then self-determination is a key factor. You got to be determined. I never took the elevator. I never took the escalator. I always took the steps because I wanted to make sure that I was learning step by step.
Mm.
But I need to learn to get to the next level or to get the apex of my success. So yeah, my mother
I love it. I
and the
love
people around me.
it.
I spoke at my college alma mater today, FIT,
Oh,
and I was so pleased to talk to these children and to the faculty. Blew me away with all of the greatness that was sitting in the room. And they wanted me to talk about my career. I couldn't do that. I think that it's so boisterous. But what I am going to tell you is the struggles. I am going to tell you how to be positive. I am going to tell you about your friends. I am going to tell you that demons come in disguises. I am going to tell you that jealousy may be the root of all evil and not money. I'm going to tell you these things. I'm not going to sit up here and just talk about where Angelo been and blah, blah, blah. I want to inspire the kids and give them the yell sign to understand what he or she has to be prepared for, what they should look out for, and how to go into detours and different roads, get to your destination.
That's an interesting point and segment because especially talking with the kids, how how do you see your work as a publicist influencing your writing and vice versa, and how it would speak to them? Because I'm sure there were some of these kids who want to be publicists. They want to do what you do.
It was amazing that it was a lot of the children that wanted to be a publicist or get into media and a journalist. And I really, again, and excuse my redundancy, didn't talk about it. I said, whatever you want to do, whatever you want to be, Here is the key ingredients.
Mhm.
Faith unlocks the door.
Mhm.
Doubt will never win.
Mhm.
It's not about winning every race.
Mhm.
It's about staying in the race. Eventually, you have to win. That's not just as a publicist,
Yeah.
not as a TV director or a movie director or a TV host. It's with everything you have to do in life. And you got to give him his thanks. And you got to share them. And you can't be ashamed of them. You got to tell people from your heart, your mind, your body, and soul who's the greatest.
Well,
And that's what I go by. And I know who the greatest is.
you certainly are the greatest, and I love your whole overview and how you pay it forward. That's what you're doing. You're paying it forward. And
Yes.
do I understand that there's plans to adapt the book for BET? Is that something that's on the?
What is taking place now is that I have this incredible agent. Her
Mhm.
name is Toya Tillman.
Mhm.
So it's not a book, but it is a TV show. It's a series that they're working on, and I think she's that close to closing it, getting the green lighted. I'm very excited about that. I'm excited about it because I've had all kinds of offers through my career. I don't believe in buffoonery.
Mhm.
I am not going on nobody's TV with no buffoonery. If
Like,
you want this package, you have to take this package the way that it is. I'm not going to act like nobody. I
yep.
know what you think, and that is probably right, what you think, but I don't prevail that stuff on no screen. I'm a man of my word. I'm a man of decision. I'm a man of direction. And that's what we're going to play with.
Oh my
I ain't
goodness.
playing with no other kind of a deck of cards.
I love it. Can you elaborate on what is this going to look like? And
So I've taped some behind the scenes things, and all the things that I've been doing, they've been taping behind the scenes things. It, thank God it will not go around my relationship with Mary J. Blige. Everyone in the world wants to associate me with Mary like we are married, and we're not. I appreciate my time with her, and I appreciate all of what she has given to me. But this is really life, and it's about children. It's about people who want to get into the music industry or the performing arts. And I take time out to talk to them and to educate them, put them in the right direction. So it's going to be about maybe 12 to 13 different professionals that will be with me. So I set it up as being set up just the way that I go each and every single day. I have a meeting of the minds with my staff. We talk about the artists. We listen to the artists. We watch their videos, and I sit back and I give strategies to it. And so the viewers get a chance to watch the strategies come alive.
Mm.
love this. I so let me ask you this. How do you think your experiences in the entertainment industry are going to inform the readers about perseverance and resilience? You have it. You've written the code on it. But how does
Well,
someone who, they come from the struggles and they see you and they want to be like you, but they meet that resilience, how do they keep that going?
you know what? All I can, if I can touch one person, two people, I think I've done my job. But I am beat up and tired. My schedule this month is ridiculous. Um, but my whole goal is to get the message out. Is to get the message out about love. We're in, man, I can't even tell you what the president of these United States is doing to our country in my eyesight. Nobody else's eyesight, but my eyesight.
Mhm.
And we talk about Black and Brown communities, unless there are people on the totem pole of importance. If I don't get out and tell them how to move and finagle through America's mess, they'll go cuckoo for Cocoa Pops. So if I can get to, I'm in Atlanta the 27th, 28th through May 2nd on a book tour. So I start the book tour the 27th, May 2nd or 3rd. and I'm going to colleges. I'm going to 2 or 3 colleges, and then I'm going doing some book signings. The thing is to get the message out. I feel like I'm running for president of the United States, but until the message is being heard in the volumes that I think that it needs to be heard on, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop. I did resales on the book, and people said, "Well, Angelo, haven't you been pushing this book for a while?" No, I'm not pushing the book. I'm pushing what's inside of the book.
Message.
That
Yeah.
is,
So, Angelo, this is wonderful because I think you people crave genuineness. You're a genuine person. That's why people around you have trusted you.
Mhm.
During your career, was there ever a time? What were some of the biggest, or what was the biggest obstacle that you faced? I'm sure
If
something
we if we
repeated.
if we're going to be open and honest, me being gay, that was the biggest obstacle of my career. Biggest obstacle of my career. You have to understand, I grew up in a very marginalized community, Newark, New Jersey. Nobody really understood what it was. It was either you was a sissy or you were a faggot or you were whatever you were. So those were the things that came my way. Then I graduated from, I went through a series of things. But then I went to work for a gentleman by the name of James Mtume. And Mtume was like my dad. He loved me unconditionally. And the first thing that I always do with anyone is I tell them my life. I don't hide it. Uh, and it's not to be hidden. So I sat back with Mtume, and Mtume said to me, "You're telling me for what? They got to know it." And then he embraced me, and then he loved me. And then he showed me the who, the whats, the whens, the wheres, the whys of the music industry. He taught me every single day. I was almost living in their house. And then because I had my degree in designs, his wife was a designer. So the wife and I, and still to this day, we're like glue. We talk about everything. She was very positive. And then Mtume said to me, "When you gonna leave all that design and stuff alone and come and get in the music industry?" I said, "Mtume, I don't know nothing about music." He said, "Well, I think it's time that you learn." And I welcomed it. I came up, I interned for him for 5 years. I didn't get paid.
mm,
This is what I said I was going to do. He didn't introduce a dollar cent to me when he made the offer to me. So I went to work 5 days, 6 days out of the week. I was on call. But each and every single day, he had a room in his house. It was the yellow room. It's like the office,
mm.
or we used to call it the spanking room. Is when he would go off on us because we got something wrong. But he said to me, "You know what a publicist is to us?" And no, and I don't know what no publicist is. He dug in his pocket and he gave me $100. He said, "I'm going to be doing the soundtrack to The Native Son." This was his first motion picture that starred Oprah Winfrey and Victor Love, and it was a Diane Silvers production.
Hmm.
He says, "You're going to do the publicity for me." Gave me the $100. I went to the store. I got a bunch of the newspapers. I took out the bylines. Because you got to remember, in the 80s, we didn't have no computers. You had to really do your own research. So I found this lady's, I will never forget her, Miss Pamela Goldstein. She worked for the New York Times. My thing was to make him Tume happy. I'm a very self-centered kind of person where it's important for me, if someone gave me a chance, I want to reciprocate it. I want to give it back. And so I went to my calling down this list. Blah, 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 blah. I typed out the list, the phone numbers, started my book, and I called this lady Miss Goldstein, and she had this horrible, horrible cold. And I went into my little cold call spell. This is Angelo Ellerbee. I'm calling from James, the two-time Grammy Award winner. But the lady said to me, "You talk too much. What do you want?" And I said, blah, 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 blah. And then she said, "Ah." She was getting coffee. Oh, no, like, oh, girl. Okay. So I said, what's your address there? And I took her address. So something told me that I had to be kind to this lady. This lady can really help me. Even though she was nasty as all, I got into the car and I went down to the drugstore and I bought 40 packs of cough drops. I went next door and I got a gift box. Then I went next door and went to Federal Express and I overnighted it to her. 2 days later, she called me back. She said, why did you send this to me? I said, I was on the phone with you and you were coughing and I thought this would make you better. She said, young man, I really appreciated this. How can I help you? Oh, this is how you could help me. James and two made the two-time Gary Whitter. Da, da, da. Well, 4 days later, there was a two-page spread in the New York Times on James and Tume. That's how I got into publicity.
Oh my goodness. I've
That's
never
how I got into publicity.
Oh my goodness. And here I am coughing. I'm like, please don't think that I'm doing that. Please don't
No,
think.
no, 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 no.
The package
No, but that's
outside
how I got into the business.
So it was
Cold
like,
calling.
so here's the thing. I'm here asking about the genesis of creativity, and it was really
I have a
the
few more
genesis
minutes to
of,
wrap up for him. So yes, yes.
the genesis of kindness. It was
Mhm.
again, it was just they say that love never fails.
Yeah.
No,
And
it doesn't.
yeah, that's awesome that you did that.
Oh,
But you got to think outside of the box.
yeah.
You can't just think, let me get a placement. You got to do something kind to someone so that they will remember you and never forget you.
Mm.
I call that lady Miss Coasings to this day.
Look at you.
To this day. That's
Angelo,
relationships. Yeah.
you, as I said, you always have a home here in my heart and on this show. And you have taught me so much. I have learned so much just by having you on the show and knowing
Thank you.
and I'm inspired by you. And for those of you who are tuning in, you can get inspired and you can get, before I let you go, it is available on Amazon.com. He is the greatest publicist and author, Angelo Ellerbee of Double Exposure
God
Media.
bless you both.
I love
God
you.
bless you both.
Thank you. And I
Okay.
actually will be
You.
down in Georgia because my niece is going down there. She's doing internship for directing. She's in some roles. So
Really?
I'm going to text you and I would
Oh,
love to come down and
please.
see
I
you.
would love for you to
Book
come
sign.
by. Yes,
Absolutely.
absolutely.
Yes, yes. It is
God bless the
an
both
honor.
of you.
Oh, thank you for your time,
Thank you.
wisdom,
God bless you.
love.
God
Love you
bless you both. Thank you.
so
Be
much.
blessed.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.